Best shot you ever took?
The one I didn't take.
What does that mean?
It means... Never mind.
Welcome to WatchMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things you missed in Hawkeye Episode 4.
Kate, I asked you to simply retrieve my arrows, not stage a play.
We're a guild.
For this list, we're looking at the best MCU callbacks, comic book references, and Easter eggs in this entry of the sharpshooting series. If you haven't seen the latest episode yet, watch out for spoilers ahead. What was your favorite moment in this week's Hawkeye? And did you catch that Kate used a move from episode 1 to get rid of a gun this week? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10. Elena's comic-accurate costume.
Maya's on the roof with me.
No, Maya is definitely here!
Who the hell am I fighting then?
Elena was unrecognizable when she first showed up in a black costume with bright green goggles. However, comic fans could have guessed it was her as soon as she appeared in the episode previews. After Elena fought the Avengers in a climactic battle, it appeared that Hydra assassinated her. But she's later revealed to be alive and wearing a black suit with a headpiece that had green goggles too. Dressing Elena in her comic book costume was a great nod to comic fans. While she may not be able to copy other people's superpowers like a similarly dressed version of her could in the comics, Florence Pugh's take on the character is still extremely dangerous.
Someone is hired. The Black Widow assassin. This has gotten very real, very quickly.
Number 9. A sad musical motif.
Natasha Romanoff was pretty damn good at it, wasn't she? Being good isn't always enough to keep you alive.
Although we've gotten constant reminders about Natasha's tragic demise throughout Hawkeye, the 4th episode really drives her death home. Not only do we hear tough conversations about Black Widow, we also see a harrowing endgame flashback. But the saddest reference to Natasha comes after Kate is sent tumbling off the roof. While a terrified Clint races to see if his protege is okay, a familiar musical cue plays.
Get out of here.
A very similar series of notes can be heard when Natasha decided to sacrifice herself by falling on Vormir in Endgame.
No. Please, no.
It's okay. The parallels between the show and movie scenes helped underscore Clint's decision to end his partnership with Kate.
Look, I know that tonight didn't go as planned, but I chose to be here. I understand the risk. I understand all of that.
I'm not gonna do it. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Number 8. Kate's clever T-shirt reference.
I made this myself.
No way!
By hand.
Maybe I could hire you to make my next one.
While we love every outfit in Kate's wardrobe, her Laika the Space Dog t-shirt is our favorite item of clothing so far. The design of a little dog in a capsule reminiscent of an arrow is a layered callback to the comics. First and foremost, Kate wears this exact shirt in a comic where she goes to help Clint Barton at a crucial moment. And the design also reminds us of the fact that Lucky the Pizza Dog's original name was Arrow before he met either Hawkeye. We love that the costume department made the effort to perfectly recreate Kate's shirt. If we're lucky, maybe we'll see one of Clint's more outrageous costumes on screen too.
How about enough materials to make your costumes plus 2 more? I know a certain someone who needs a little help with theirs.
Number 7. Thanos Was Right merchandise nods to another 2021 Marvel story.
Morning.
Morning.
We couldn't help but laugh when we saw Clint drinking out of a Thanos Was Right mug. But this light moment turned somber when we remembered what happened in Eternals. During the movie, we learn that there's a big celestial inside of the Earth's core. It could only awaken and destroy the planet once enough intelligent life developed there. The heroes learn that its destructive debut was delayed because Thanos snapped away half of all life.
The sudden return of the population provided the necessary energy for the emergence to begin.
While we definitely aren't the Mad Titan's biggest fans, we can't deny that he unintentionally helped Earth in a big way. his snap just turned out to be the right thing to delay the planet's practically inevitable destruction.
It needs correction.
You don't know that!
I'm the only one who knows that.
Number 6, a great Boomerang arrow callback.
How do we get more trick arrows?
Well, there are no more trick arrows.
Like in the world?
Basically.
During Kate and Clint's cute Christmas montage, they have an extended discussion about trick arrows. When the young archer tries to convince the Avenger to add a boomerang option to his arsenal, he immediately shuts it down.
Have you ever heard of boomerang arrows?
What? Why would I ever want to use a boomerang arrow?
Because they come back.
But they were actually on different sides of this argument in the comics. When Clint shows Kate the boomerang arrow in one story, she immediately makes fun of it. However, she ends up using it to save her mentor's life from a tracksuit Dracula. This hilarious and poetic comic book moment makes us think that the MCU's Clint should give the boomerang arrow a second chance.
If all trick arrows were boomerangs, then we'd have them all.
Coming back at us.
You'd have to dodge.
Number 5, is Elena sparing Kate on purpose?
Kate, get out of there now.
What? Why?
Before Elena threw Kate off the roof, the assassin made sure the young archer was secured to a rope. And when Kate had an arrow aimed at Elena, the experienced assassin gave the archer a silent no before fleeing. Since the Black Widow graduate doesn't tend to flinch at guns in her face, we doubt the arrow scared her. But what if Elena just doesn't want to risk hurting Kate? While she might just be opposed to harming innocents, there is a chance someone told her to avoid Bishop. Was it just a coincidence Elena showed up after Kate's mom met Clint and made a suspicious call?
It's Eleanor. Could you call me back, please? It's urgent.
Whether Mrs. Bishop is involved or not, it doesn't appear like Elena's planning on taking Kate out.
Go home, Kate. It's over.
Number 4, Clint's trick may be extremely important later.
You got any other cool tricks?
Well, I could knock somebody unconscious with that, like 20 feet away.
The experienced Hawkeye took a break from decorating the Christmas tree to prove he could turn a tiny ornament into a dangerous projectile. After showing off his impressive skills, he taught Kate how to pull off the trick as well. This bonding scene could be the key to defeating Kazi in the future.
This is the final warning. Let's get it done.
When the villain shot Clint in the comics, it looked like he and Kate were both done for. But the Avenger grabbed the small bullet he was hit with, flicked it at Kazi, and caused enough of a distraction to turn the tables. Maybe the live-action Clint or Kate will follow the comics and knock Kazi down a peg with a small item by the time the series ends.
You do it this time.
Okay.
Number 3, Hawkeye hints at potential owners of that Rolex.
What am I looking for?
A watch. Vintage Rolex. Belongs to someone I used to work with.
Is that the whole story, Clint?
A vintage watch stolen from the Avengers compound has led to one of the show's biggest mysteries. All we know for certain is that it belongs to a former co-worker of Clint's, whose identity he wants to keep safe.
They've been out of the game a long time, but their identity's still attached to that watch.
And if the tracksuits find out about it?
It'll blow their cover. Goodbye, friend.
While Stark could afford a Rolex, his hero status was public. The watch's vintage status could also hint at the old and retired Cap. Although those are safe bets, we're wondering if it's Laura Barton's. She could have been a S.H.I.E.L.D. spy before hiding in secret. And not only could Laura switch to another language quickly, she also knew how to find the Rolex.
I've been wondering. Verschwinde nach mehr auf dem Gelände?
You mean the Rolex?
Genau.
Having her be the watch's owner would be a cool way to wrap up this mystery. Number 2, a LARPer shares her name with an explosive Hawkeye enemy.
One of you is a cop? That's me. Officer Wendy Conrad, better as Elsbeth of Deepdale.
When Kate needs to get trick arrows out of police custody, she's able to get help from an officer/professional LARPer named Wendy Conrad. She shares a name with a villain who first appeared in a Hawkeye story.
I can probably help you out, if you make it worth my while.
The comic version of Wendy Conrad called herself Bombshell and participated in a plot to kidnap the Archer. She was also an expert juggler that didn't mind playing around with explosives. It doesn't seem like the live-action Wendy is a secret supervillain with a bone to pick with Hawkeye.
My wife gave me this bag. It's embroidered. It says bombshell.
I can see that it's very important to you.
He'll get it back to you. Yeah, I'll make sure of it.
But we are still a little afraid of what she might do to Clint if he doesn't return her wife's specially made bombshell bag. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Clint's story has parallels to It's a Wonderful Life.
You lost your family in the blip.
Yeah. Like half the world.
As Clint was opening up to Kate, they paused their conversation and watched It's a Wonderful Life. This moment made us see strong parallels between his MCU journey and the holiday classic. It's a Wonderful Life centers on a man named George Bailey. He became deaf in one ear after rescuing his drowning brother. After Clint saved the world from numerous threats, he started to experience hearing loss. Both men were separated from their families.
Get me back! I don't care what happens to me! Get me back to my wife and kids! Help me, Clarence, please!
While a celestial angel showed George a timeline without his kids or marriage to his wife, a villain from the stars snapped Clint's family away. Both men also came very close to giving up their lives before a heroic person intervened. Hopefully, Clint's story in Hawkeye will end as happily as George's did.
That's why I'm here. And I can't go home till I fix it.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.